Problem number 27. Same page 556. Solve the following equation. 1 over x minus 2 plus, fraction line, 16 over x squared plus x minus 6 equals negative 3. Alright? Now, there is no difference from the simpler one that we did previously, in the regard that we have to find their common denominator. Okay? And before I'm just jumping into multiplying their denominators here and considering that their common denominator, I will try to see if I can factorize this denominator right here. Okay? So you take that x squared plus x minus 6 and you try to break it down in factors. And this one could be what? Well, it's obvious that because the first term is x squared, and if I have two binomials here that multiply will give me that, what should be the first term in each one of them? Dominique, what will be the first term in your binomials? Their product is x squared. They should be what? Freddy. What should I have first term here? X and x, right? Why is that so? Because x times x gives me x squared. Now, I'm looking at my last term here. Is negative. Is a negative 6. Because it's negative, it means these two binomials will be minus and plus, because only when you multiply a negative by a positive, you get a negative answer. Okay? So I have to take my negative 6 and I have to find two factors, two numbers that multiply by each other will give me negative 6, and if you add them will give you 1. So what possible factors do you have for negative 6? Account. Negative 6, what factors? Positive 3 and negative 2. Their product is obviously negative 6. If you add them, you get 1. You get 1, right? Well, it seems to me that this is the answer here. So I will have x minus 2 and x plus 3. Okay? So this is the factorization of this denominator. So let's rewrite my equation by using that. My equation, right? 1 over x minus 2 plus 16 over, what is 16? X minus 2 times x plus 3 equals negative 3. Now the question is, what is my common denominator of x minus 2 and x minus 2 times x plus 3? What do you guys think will be their common denominator? Or not common denominator, their least common multiple will be x minus 2 times what? Times x plus 3. You see that? Because this one already has the first denominator that is multiplied by another one. So in order for me to have the same denominator on the first fraction, I have to multiply top and bottom by x plus 3. So I'll multiply by x plus 3 top and bottom, because that way, you see, I have the same denominator in both. Now, because that is the common denominator here, in order for me to solve this equation, I have to multiply both sides by this common denominator. So I'll multiply my whole equation by this x plus 3 times x minus 2. Alright? And it looks ugly, I know. But that's the way you solve it. By multiplying everything with your common denominator. So here I have what? Well, x plus 3 times x minus 2. multiply by this fraction, your x plus 3 and x times x minus 2 will cross cancel. So you will have only x plus 3 left, right? Plus 16 over x minus 2 times x plus 3 multiplied by your common denominator, which is the same as its denominator, will be just 16. And that will equal negative 3 multiplied by that product. But you know what? That product now, I needed to have it in this form. So it'll be what? X squared plus x minus 6 times x squared plus x minus 6. Do you guys understand what I did up to this point? Dominic? Because if you multiply this one by that, denominators will cross cancel. Let me take it separately and I will show it. If I have x plus 3 times x minus 2 multiplied by x plus 3, because x plus 3 times 1 is x plus 3, right? Over x plus 3 times x minus 2, what's happening here? Well, x plus 3, x plus 3, x minus 2, x minus 2, right? So that's how you get that x plus 3 left. Now, one thing we forgot to mention here is our restriction. Your x has to be different than what? Well, I have to make sure that x plus 3 is not 0, right? Which makes me state the first condition, x has to be different than what? For what value of x your x plus 3 will be 0? For negative 3. So your x has to be different than negative 3, because negative 3 plus 3 will be 0. Not good. And then the second one, I have to find for what value of x this x minus 2 is 0. And x has to be different than that too. And for what value x minus 2 will be 0? If x equals 2, that will be what? 2 minus 2, and that will be 0. Not good. So x has to be different than 2 also. Okay? Now, let's simplify this expression here. First of all, I have 3 plus 16, right? So it will be x plus 19 on the left side. On the right side, you're multiplying this negative 3 by everything that's inside the parentheses. And I have minus 3 times x squared, negative 3x squared. Minus 3 times x will be negative 3x, minus 3x. Minus 3 times minus 6 will be plus, right, plus 18. I will move everything on the left side. So basically you're adding 3x squared, you're adding 3x, you're subtracting 18. And that's from both sides, right? Plus 3x squared plus 3x minus 18. 3x squared plus nothing here will be 3x squared. X plus 3x will be 4x. 19 minus 18, negative 1, equals 0. And you have a quadratic equation that you have to solve, either by factoring, completing the square, or by quadratic formula. I prefer the quadratic formula here. So let's identify your A, B, and C. A, B, and C. What is my A? J. 3. Your B and C, negative 1. Next step, you find your delta. Would be what? Marisa, what is delta? B squared minus 4AC. Right? Good. Equals what? B squared, 4 squared, right? 4 squared minus 4 times A times 3 times C, which is negative 1, equals 4 squared is 16. Minus minus over there will give you a plus. And will be plus 4 times 3, which is 12. And that equals 28. Because it's greater than 0, you definitely have 2 roots, right? Real, you may say. 2 real roots. And now, your x1 and 2. And you're using the quadratic formula. Gerardo, what is the quadratic formula? x1, 2 equals 1. Abby, help him. be minus b plus or minus square root of delta over 2a. Great. And I'll substitute everything that you know. Minus b, that's negative 4, plus minus square root 28. Guys, square root 28 you can simplify. It's actually what? Square root 4 times 7, which equals square root 4 times square root 7. But what is square root 4? 2. So it'll be 2 square root 7. So plus minus 2 square root 7 over 2 times 3, which is 6. And this gives you the two answers. First one, you have minus 4 plus 2 square root 7 over 6. And if you simplify by 2 here, you see, 4, 2, and 6, they have all a 2 as a common factor. Will be what? Minus 4 divided by 2, negative 2. Plus 2 square root 7 divided by 2 is going to be square root 7. 6 divided by 2 is going to be 3. That's your first root. The other one would be minus 4 minus 2 square root 7 over 6. And as you can see here, will be minus 2 minus square root 7 over 3 after you divide everything by 2. And these are your solutions.